We need to talk about Deshaun Watson's 6-game suspension. Now, this may be a controversial take, but 6 games makes sense. Is 6 games right? Hell no. But nothing about this situation is right. And we're actually not here to talk about right or wrong. We're actually here to judge the wisdom of the arbitrator, former federal judge Sue L. Robinson, and the penalty that she handed down given all the evidence and testimony available to her. History shows us that Ezekiel, Elliot, and Ben Roethlisberger's cases actually set precedent here. And as absurd as it is to realize that DeAndre Hopkins got the same suspension for a trace amount of PEDs, and that Calvin Ridley got a suspension that's 3 times longer over a $1,500 bet that he made when he was away from the team while he was injured. Now, as an actual arbitrator, you can't cross-compare the violations of the NFL policy. Now, justice and fairness, they are not going to align here, because justice would actually look like victims not having to choose between accountability under the law and monetary compensation. Justice would also look like the Houston Texans organization having to answer for their culpability and active participation in Deshaun Watson's extracurricular massage activities. Justice would look like Deshaun Watson getting his day in court in the event that even one of these accusers invented accusations for their financial gain. Nobody in this situation is going to get what is just. So we're left with the awful task of trying to determine, using prior precedent, what might be fair according to the details that we have. Right or wrong, Deshaun Watson has not been charged with a crime. Right or wrong, Deshaun Watson has not publicly admitted to any specific instance of forcing anybody to do anything against their will. Right or wrong, all but one so far of Deshaun Watson's accusers have opted to settle their civil dispute with him without a trial. Right or wrong, in this country and in this culture, the option of actually charging an alleged perpetrator of sexual impropriety or violence against women is up to the discretion of the prosecutor, not the public. Now, Deshaun Watson, like Ezekiel Elliott, had accusations reported to law enforcement that did not result in indictment. And Deshaun Watson, like Ben Roethlisberger, is now being suspended on the basis of reckless behavior and not as an acknowledgement of the validity of the accusations against him. So some of you listening might be on the complete opposite side, saying, how can a man's livelihood be taken from him when there is no criminal indictment? And I hear you, but the truth is that we live in a world where an overwhelming amount of instances of violence against women go unprosecuted. But we also live in the same world where a false rape allegation put Brian Banks in prison for 6 years and cost him everything. And anybody that can't acknowledge that our system falls short for victims, but also has made victims of the falsely accused, is not a serious person. Now, let me leave you with the words the NFL commissioner wrote to Ben Roethlisberger 12 years ago. Words that Deshaun Watson, regardless of whether he's guilty or not, needs to hear. Quote, "You are held to a higher standard as an NFL player, and there is nothing about your conduct that can be remotely described as admirable, responsible, or even consistent with either the values of the league or the expectations of our fans. Your conduct raises sufficient concerns that I believe effective intervention is now the best step for your personal welfare." Deshaun Watson and the public, you need to let that sink in.